In an era when science fiction was often seen as cheap thrills and rubber monsters, The Time Machine 1960 offered something rare: intelligence, imagination, and genuine philosophical depth. Based on the novel by H.G. Wells, directed by George Pal, and led by a quietly commanding Rod Taylor, this film dared to ask not just what if, but what happens after. Let's take a proper look at this pioneering sci-fi classic, a film of bold ideas, technical innovation, and, yes, flaws, but ones worth unpacking. Setting the clock, the premise. The story opens on New Year's Eve, 1899, as a group of gentlemen gather to hear their friend, H. George Wells, played by Rod Taylor, explain the wild claims of his recent journey through time. What follows is a sweeping journey from Victorian England to the far reaches of human existence. Taylor's time traveller ventures to 802-701 AD, where he encounters the Eloi, a passive, childlike race, and the Morlocks, brutish creatures who dwell underground and prey on them. It's a stark vision of human evolution, one shaped by Wells's own concerns about class division and the future of mankind. Rod Taylor, the thinking man's hero. Rod Taylor brings a calm intelligence to the role. He's not a muscle-bound action star or a mad scientist caricature. Instead, his time traveller is curious, principled, and quietly intense. It's a performance that grounds the film, giving weight to its more fantastical elements. Taylor doesn't just move through time, he thinks through it. Whether he's admiring future innovations or recoiling in horror at civilization's collapse, his reactions help us invest emotionally in what might otherwise feel like a cold, conceptual narrative. Visual effects and design. Impressive for its era. For 1960, the special effects are impressive. The time travel sequences, particularly the use of stop motion, color fades, and miniature model transitions, still feel imaginative, even charmingly hypnotic. The famous shot of the shop window changing fashions as time speeds by. Iconic. George Pal, no stranger to effects-driven storytelling after 1953's War of the Worlds, uses practical ingenuity to depict time travel not just as a plot device, but as a visual experience. The sound design, the pulsing lights, the spinning disc of the machine. It's simple, but surprisingly effective. The design of the time machine itself is worth praising too. That polished brass, the spinning wheel, the crystal control lever. It's the kind of sci-fi prop that feels handcrafted, almost mythic. It's no surprise it's become one of the most recognizable designs in movie history. Themes. A warning. Wrapped in wonder. Where the time machine really earns its place in the sci-fi canon is in its themes. Wells was writing in the late 19th century, concerned about class inequality, unchecked capitalism, and technological overreach. The film preserves much of that caution. The Eloi represent a civilization grown soft, uncurious, and passive, living in peace, but with no understanding of history or purpose. The Morlocks, in contrast, are brutal, mechanized, and live in darkness, perhaps a warning of industrial society consuming itself. It's a bleak vision, hidden beneath lush greenery and pastel clothing. The time traveller's disappointment in the Eloi is palpable. He's not just disappointed in their weakness, he's saddened by what it means for humanity as a whole. The idea that thousands of years of advancement could lead to apathy instead of enlightenment is the film's quiet tragedy. Where it stumbles, pacing and simplicity. For all its strengths, The Time Machine isn't perfect. The pacing, especially in the second half, can feel uneven. After the grandeur of time travel and philosophical musings, the Eloi-Morlock conflict becomes overly simplistic. The climax, where Taylor leads a brief revolt against the Morlocks, lacks the depth suggested by the film's earlier questions. The Eloi, particularly Weena, played by Yvette Mimieux, are underdeveloped. She's more symbol than character, meant to represent innocence and lost humanity, but given little agency. Her relationship with the time traveler feels rushed and unearned, more plot device than emotional core. Also, while the effects were innovative in 1960, they don't always hold up today. The Morlocks, in particular, come across as men in awkward costumes, more camp than terrifying. For modern viewers, that can pull them out of the film's darker tone. Legacy, a quiet giant of sci-fi. Despite these issues, The Time Machine left a lasting impact. It won an Oscar for Best Special Effects and inspired a generation of filmmakers and writers. Its tone, hopeful but wary, curious but reflective, helped lay the foundation for more serious science fiction in decades to come. It's easy to forget just how rare it was at the time to see science fiction taken seriously. This wasn't about alien invasions or monster battles. This was about evolution, decay, and time as a moral landscape. In many ways, The Time Machine walked so that films like 2001, A Space Odyssey, Interstellar, and Arrival could run. Closing thoughts, time well spent. So, does The Time Machine still hold up? In many ways, yes. It's thoughtful, visually inventive, and led by a performance from Rod Taylor that still resonates. It's a film that respects its audience, inviting them not just to imagine new worlds, but to question where we're heading. It might feel dated in places, and its narrative may simplify complex themes, but its heart, its ideas, and its ambition are timeless. If you're a fan of science fiction that thinks before it blasts, The Time Machine is absolutely worth revisiting. If you enjoyed this critique, give the video a like and subscribe for more deep dives into the films that shaped science fiction and cinema itself. Thanks for watching, and remember, the future is what we make it.